Group of the junior featherweights, and they'll set to go 8 rounds, and we're very, very interested to see. This is Vuyani Bungu, and of course he'll be the young man out of South Africa, as we'll find out exactly how well he can fight. And we've talked already about his opponent in Freddie Norwood, an undefeated young man from St. Louis, Missouri. But of course Bungu here weighing in at 55-8, and that of course is the registered weight that he had today at 123 pounds. 123 as well for his opponent, and we made mention of the good firepower with both. Norwood has 13 knockouts, and Vuyani has a total of 14 knockouts in his 20 victories so far, with only 1 loss. 15-0 for Norwood, and he is called Little Marvin. And Bob, I don't guess we need to tell the fans who have watched Marvelous Marvin Hagler for all those years, a smaller version certainly of the marvelous one Marvin Hagler.
That's right, how they made that analogy. I tell you, Norwood seems very dry. He doesn't have any sweat on him at all, whereas Bungu seems to have a good sweat going, which is important early in a fight, especially when you're facing a puncher. You can see Norwood doesn't have a drop of perspiration on him.
Mario Manati is the referee that is now explaining some of the rules over there to Vuyani as he comes out to the center of the ring, and now they're ready to go for the instructions here, and of course the slapping of the gloves. They have been instructed in the dressing rooms already earlier tonight. Hard rock on the belt there, you see, of Freddie Norwood. He's from St. Louis, Missouri. He is 22 years of age, and 24 for Vuyani on the other side. So both these fighters in the peak of their careers, 20-1 for Vuyani, and of course Freddie is 15-0. So we'll find out just exactly how the styles. This is one of those things you made mention also, Bob, that the style and of course coming right at each other, that is the way both these fighters like to attack. And it'll be interesting to see what happens here in round number 1, if indeed they stay to their game plans, which was what they talked about in the hotel for the last couple of days anyway.
That's right. They're both pressure fighters, but I'd been talking to Malcolm Garrett, the trainer of the Beast, and he had alluded to me that he was going to box for a few rounds with Norwood before rather than put pressure on him like he generally does, and that's just what he's doing right now. He's standing on the outside, trying to establish the jab.
Bungu in the white, again Norwood in the gold. First round set for 8 here tonight.
Norwood the southpaw.
That's one of the things, if you have not battled a southpaw, and just talking to the camp of the Beast, they indicated they try to get some southpaw competition as far as sparring, but you just really got to adjust to that. There's no way to do it unless you've seen it before.
That's right. Well, any world-class fighter understands that that's something. They used to change them around oftentimes and convert them, but nowadays there's so many southpaws in the amateurs, they really are making the transition into the professional ranks without changing them over. It used to be really hard to get opponents if you were a southpaw.
Bob, rule of thumb in trying to negate the power of a southpaw, what's the strategy for Bungu here?
Well, the Beast needs to have his lead left foot on the outside of Norwood's lead right foot, and he's not been successful doing that thus far in the fight. He wants to be on the outside, otherwise he's going to be right in punching power range of Norwood, who seems quite calm and looking to just try to straight left hand there.
Norwood, again, one of those fighters coming out of St. Louis, Missouri, and they've had a lot of great amateur fighters that come out of there, not a lot of pros. Of course, Harold Petty, who went down and trained, of course, in the Fort Worth area. Also, Mike and Leon Spinks, and of course, they are well known in the heavyweight division. But outside of that, they've had some great amateurs, but the pros have just not been something they've excelled in. And now, Freddie Norwood may be the first guy that they've had in quite a while.
Right, and even with that, Freddie's moved south to Texas to get really established. Tony Martin's another world-class 140-pounder from St. Louis, now boxing out of Philadelphia. The list goes on and on. St. Louis has produced some of the top amateurs year in and year out, but there's never really been an established promoter there to keep the kids at home.
You hit on a touch word there, Bob, established. Either fighter establishing anything in round 1 so far?
No, it really seems to be a feeling out process so far. Although I think the Beast is doing a good job. With a name like the Beast, you wouldn't expect him to be a fluid boxer, but I think he's confused Norwood with that to a certain extent.
Good left hand, and there's that hook that Norwood would like to land. He also likes a good right hook, so he possesses power in both those hands. Bungu walking in, ducking into Norwood, who hits him with a couple of shots. This fight is set for 8 rounds in the junior featherweight division. Both these fighters looking to step up in the rankings, and certainly a win by either one tonight would do a good bit of that to get them up into the ranking powers.
Oh, you've got the South African champion against the a rated fighter from the United States. Really, something's got to give here. There's Norwood's attempt at some body shots, which he missed.
Bungu in the white and Norwood in the gold. Again, Norwood may be establishing a little bit near the end of round one. Bungu needing to step up his attack, and you can see he's trying to do that here in round two.
Yeah, he's coming forward now. I don't think he'll box too much more, but he's trying to be careful. But he needs to see his foot is on the inside of Norwood. He's standing right in his power, and that's not really where he wants to be.
Bob, any concern with that lack of sweat, perspiration by Norwood? He came into the ring dry, and he's still dry.
Yeah. As I was telling you before, oftentimes if a fighter's dried himself out to make weight, this is where it'll show. If he doesn't start sweating after a couple of rounds, you can be sure he's a little bit dehydrated. There's a good counter straight left hand by Norwood, just off the mark.
Bungu seems to be ducking into just about everything that Norwood has thrown to him, which is obviously a dangerous way. One step either way for Norwood, and he's got an open shot to get a good left or right hook.
He's certainly open for an uppercut the way he's leaning in.
Bungu, an impressive 85-5 amateur record. Looking for this fight to stepping up in the pros at 20 wins and 1 loss, 14 by knockouts. 24, as I made mention, he stands 5'4", and again weighed in at 55-8, 123 pounds for this fight tonight.
Yeah, he's got heavy hands, the beast. He really does. I was in Houston when he was preparing for the fight, and they were trying to keep some left-handed sparring in front of him, and they had a problem keeping guys that could good left-hand counter by Norwood there.
They actually brought Bungu into spar with the current champion, Welcome Nita, who obviously on this same card, but they didn't want to take any chances getting either one of them hurt, particularly since Bungu had a tough fight with Norwood. So they dropped that idea in a big hurry.
Right, and the styles, to prepare for a southpaw, you certainly would like to work with one, and that's what the Beast wanted to do, whereas Welcome's going to work with a guy that comes right to him, and they had some good combination there. This is a very evenly matched fight.
Which I think everybody in conversation before this fight expected.
It's hard to tell when you take two athletes from different parts of the world, even though they both obviously got good records. It's hard to tell the level of competition that they've been in with to get to that point.
About 30 seconds left to go in round number 2. Bungu again in the white with his back to you. Norwood in the goal. Able to counter just about everything that Vuyani has been able to come in on top of him with. And done very successfully at that.
Good combination by Hard Rock.
Another solid round by Norwood, able to counter as we close in on the end of round number 2. Round 3 of a Schedule 8 rounder, junior featherweights. Bungu out of South Africa, hails from East London, South Africa, and St. Louis, Missouri. Freddie Norwood, now training out of Fort Worth. He is in the goal. And on Bob Spagnola's card tonight, unofficially, a split of the first 2 rounds here. So it'll be interesting to see how the judges are scoring here at ringside.
Yeah, I think the feeling out process is just about over with. I look for them both to pick up the pace here. Here's the Beast landing a good jab.
By the way, just to bring you up to date on the rules here in Italy, the 10-point must system, obviously, as it is around the world. 3 judges will scoring. The referee does not figure in the judging. And the 3 knockdown rule is in effect in Italy, as you see Norwood going right back after Bungu on a counter. There's no standing 8 count here in this professional ring.
Now you can see Bungu's got his left hand outside of Norwood's right hand, and does some good body shots by Norwood, but he's trying. Working good combination by the Beast.
Bungu seems to be very off balance when he throws a lot of combinations, Bob. Could be trouble for him, couldn't it?
Well, I think he's a herky-jerky kind of a fighter, and although it seems awkward, he got hit with a good counter left there, it's also awkward for his opponent to counter him or to time him. He never does the same thing twice.
Norwood again seems to be very patient, just letting Bungu do what he can do and then counters right off of it, and has gone on the offensive probably a half a dozen times and has scored well each time he's tried to do that.
That's funny, but it seems like Norwood is boxing and countering well, and now the Beast is putting the pressure on him, but Freddie's not just a one-dimensional fighter. He seems very relaxed in there, waiting for his shots.
Freddie's last win came in a 5th-round knockout over Capri Lipkin, a young man who fights out of Houston you're well aware of. He fought on the Orlando Canizales undercard down in Laredo on December the 21st, and again won in a 5th round TKO. Amateur record 98-6.
And that was against some real tough competition up there in St. Louis.
Very. 2 times the St. Louis Golden Gloves, Diamond Gloves 4 times.
That's
Silver Gloves 1, slipped, and he'll be acknowledged by Mr. Mianti, the referee. And 2 times a junior Olympic champion is Norwood. So again, a tremendous amateur background, and he's carried it over with a 15-0 record in the pros now.
He's trying to set him up for that straight right hand.
About a half a minute to go in round number 3.
A low blow there by the Beast. Wasn't called. There they go.
Good exchange at the end of this round. Norwood again very composed, waiting for Bungu to come in on top of him, and then counters right off of it as we close out on the final 5 seconds of this, the 3rd round.
Good action. No one's really taken control of this so far. Right throughout his career and did a tremendous job with it, so he's got all the confidence of the world in Paul. He knows he can do the job.
Sam Smith along with Bob Spagnola as we're back to action in the 4th round. Bungu in the white out of South Africa, Norwood out of St. Louis, Missouri in the gold. Good exchanges by both. How'd you score round 3 there, by the way, Bob?
I had it 10-9 for Norwood, but I think the feeling out process is certainly over with at this point. They're trying to take charge of this fight, but it seems like the Beast is now is the aggressor and Norwood's the counter puncher. I didn't really expect that.
It's one of those things you almost have to, and we do not know the judges here at ringside, you really kind of have to know what kind of style fighter they like. Do they like a guy that's very aggressive? Do they like one that is very defensive? So we'll just have to wait for that first scorecard to really find out tonight.
They really do appreciate boxing here in Europe a lot more than in the United States. Good combination by Norwood, and then he slipped the counters by the Beast.
Well, if you dialed in and wanted some action, I don't think you're going to have to dial too much further, because we are now in the midst of the 4th round, and neither fighter is ready to back down.
The Beast is pressuring him. Norwood's working his right jab really well, trying to set up the straight left hand. Neither one of them have landed their power shots effectively thus far. Body shot by Norwood. Good body shot by the Beast. Another.
Oh, there's a big left hand by Norwood.
Left hand.
The Beast is wobbly, but he's still on his feet, and he took a tremendous shot with the left hook.
He took that strong straight left hand by Norwood, but the Beast has got a major league chin. He certainly had the opportunity to prove that. He
bent but didn't fall, and now you can see him backpedaling a little bit. Now he definitely knows he's got to respect that power of Norwood.
Well, Norwood's been trying to set that shot up, and he did a good job with it. Norwood's a lot better defensive fighter than you might think. Oftentimes short come-to-you fighters like that, people don't give him credit, but slipping punches, now he's countering very effectively with the left hand.
Doing a great job. Bends at the waist well, kind of steps back. Does a nice job. Half a minute to go here in round number 4.
The Beast is still pressuring him. As they say in this business, pressure will bust a pipe. Good body shot by the Beast. Another one. Countered by Norwood.
There's that left hand again. Bungu caught it on the shoulder, but it had some power behind it. You see the time left in round number 4. We'll be halfway through this 8-rounder. And Norwood may be starting to establish himself quite strongly now, midway through this fight. As we head for 8 in this junior featherweight fight, Treviolo, Italy is the site of our fight tonight in World Championship action here on Mnet Super Sports and around the world. Sam Smith along with Bob Spagnola, we're glad you could join us tonight, and you see that Bungu is trying to come right in on top of Norwood, and Norwood is countering extremely well again.
Responding with some nice, crisp, short body shots.
So just as you forecasted, Bob, Bungu is becoming even more aggressive here to try to regain control of the fight again.
He knows what he has to do. He can change it all around with one shot, but
so many times when you see, now keep in mind that Norwood is 22, Bungu is 24. Young fighters who have had the extensive amateur career that we alluded to a moment ago. Very difficult, even though these are pretty well into their pro career, of becoming a patient fighter. You want to do so much so early and not let the rounds kind of come to you and do what you have to do and stay to your game plan. But both these fighters seem to be somewhat doing that, even though Bungu probably has diverted a bit because of the beating he's taking right now from Norwood, at least the shots that he's taking at the moment.
That's right. It's hard to keep going forward when you're getting shellacked like that, but he certainly got a strong constitution because he doesn't seem to let it bother him. And this is a mind game. You take two world-class fighters like this, their conditioning level is great, and a strong mind is oftentimes what makes the difference between winning and losing. He keeps working that right hand of the body, which is a good shot to land against the southpaw the Beast does. He's got to load up on that right.
You know, even though as much as Bungu is kind of lunging forward, you made mention a moment ago that Norwood is slipping him so well. He's got such a quick retreat. You see another shot there, just wildly thrown, and if it does connect, it has no power behind it by the time it gets there.
He pivots out of there very well. There's another right hand of the body that the Beast is working, and that might pay dividends later in this fight.
You have seen, of course, Norwood not training under Paul Reyes. You see anything totally different here, or is it pretty much the same? It looks fairly comparable to what I've seen.
Yes, and Paul, the fact that Paul, trained Donald, oftentimes a guy that's been under a strong trainer like that picks up a lot of his habits, so it probably hasn't been a real difficult transition to make. Oh, good combination by Norwood.
Bungu obviously shaking again. Almost looked like you wanted to come in and clinch. You see plenty of time left to go in this 5th round.
Looked like a right hook, but here he comes. I mean, he has no doubt about it what he wants to do. He's going to press this guy and try to make something happen. Well, he's been effectively countered. This Norwood's a better fighter than I initially thought. He's not just a one-dimensional aggressive come-to-you fighter. He's really showing that.
Number 6, junior featherweights. Again, Bungu in the white and Norwood in the gold. Bungu from East London, South Africa. Norwood from St. Louis, Missouri, now fighting out of Fort Worth, Texas, where he trains. And this has been a very entertaining fight. Round 5, Norwood again. Or was it even?
I scored the round even based on the aggression of the Beast, although Norwood has been very, they say effective aggression, and Norwood's made a very difficult target here.
So Norwood, based on that even round, a couple of points up on Bungu on our unofficial card. And keep in mind, it is very unofficial. The 3 judges will score it here tonight if it does indeed go to the 8 rounds. Norwood catching a lot of punches on the glove. Oh, it's pretty good.
Good uppercut by the Beast and an overhand right hand afterwards. The Beast is certainly keeping the pressure up on Freddie Norwood here. And Freddie's going to really have to good counter there. Continued pressure there. Pressure will bust a pipe. That's what they say. We'll see.
Norwood, however, seems to be pretty tightly wound, so it's going to be a tough one to stop him tonight. Bungu has certainly tried his best. There you see we're nearly a little over halfway through this 6th round, scheduled for 8. Bob, you here in Italy just kind of biding your time. A quick trip to Paris where Orlando Canizales will be defending his title, and he's got a pretty tough opponent. It'll be a tough fight for him next week.
Certainly does. Francisco Alvarez hasn't lost a fight in 6 years, so he must be doing something right. Bungu's really having a good round this round. It seems like Freddie's taking a little rest this time. He's had the better of it with this pressure.
Warned by the referee. Mario Mariante is the 3rd man in the ring. One thing about Norwood, and in sharp contrast to that of Bungu, is the fact that Norwood always has his heads up. He's always kind of looking straight ahead, with the exception of there, of course. But when he's coming in on you, he's always looking. He knows where he wants to punch.
Good round by the Beast, though. This is his best round of the fight. He's really continuing. He's going to say, Freddie Norwood, if you're going to beat me, you're going to really have to beat me. And he's making him.
You can hear
him fight.
Crowd in the background appreciating it as well, yep. Bob.
Two fighters, both from halfway around the world from each other, giving it their all here in Italy.
So Bungu very close, closing 10 seconds, and maybe evening this thing a little better now.
I've definitely got him ahead in this round. Freddie took this round off.
Are you?
Norwood really has a facial resemblance to Marvin Hagler, too. Let's see what he'll do now.
See if he can respond like the great one did, Marvin Hagler, in some of the late rounds of his fights.
He's still backing up.
Bungu definitely is the man that has taken the aggression stem here. Again, only 1 point down on our unofficial card now, so it is definitely tightened up. An even round in the 5th. Bungu wins the 6th, though they are now in a pretty good foot race to the finish here.
Norwood seems to be a lot more economical with his punches at this stage of the fight. Might be those right hands to the body.
Zima Guna across the way, the trainer for Bungu, hollering his encouragement.
Well, they realize they're behind in the fight, but sometimes when you get a fighter knowing he's got to move forward, you know, rather than a guy that, like Freddie, that might feel like he's got a false sense of security because he had the fight going his way. But they just score it round by round. Good defense by Hard Rock, though. He's a hard-hit with a straight shot.
Gloves are starting to come down a little bit, so it may be headhunting time for Bungu here.
Just the sheer volume of punches by Bungu's got to be to his advantage at this stage. Norwood seems to have gotten very economical with his punches.
Bob, as you take a look at these two junior featherweights, your assessment of their opportunities to go on and have an opportunity to fight for a world title. Pretty good for both?
Right. Well, I believe we're going to find out a lot about one of them tonight. That's what it's been a good left-hand counter by Norwood. Hit the Beast on the ear. And a good straight right hand by the Beast.
Both fighters quietening here a bit in the 7th after an electrifying 6th round.
Couple of good right hooks by Norwood.
Trying to keep him in the corner there. About less than a minute to go. Good combinations indeed as Norwood landed him solidly.
Norwood's cut over the eye.
And again, another warning, and indeed
holding and hitting.
That cut is on the eyelid, as a matter of fact.
It's in a very bad spot.
For Norwood, the fortunate part for him, it is round number 7, scheduled for 8. You can see him pawing at that eye with the left glove.
Another right hand lands on it.
That'll
shake up a fighter.
This is it'll shake up the fighter that is cut, and it'll certainly electrify the other and get him going.
Adrenaline starts pumping. Ooh, good combinations by both fighters. This is really heating up here.
Well, the lull before the storm is suddenly over. The storm clouds are indeed starting to amass, and the round number 7.
Excellent cut, man. A guy like that you certainly like to have in your corner in circumstances like this.
This is round number 8 of the junior featherweights. Bungu in the white, Norwood in the gold, and neither has asked for quarters yet. They have picked at each other all this entire fight. How about the 7th? You go with
I had it an even round.
Interesting.
Good exchanges by both men.
Still +1 on the unofficial card for Norwood after running rounds number 1, 3, and 4 unofficially. Even 5th, Bungu the 6th, and an even round on the 7th. So the 8th round, definitely the final 3 minutes, hangs for the career of one of these fighters. Not that to say that it would certainly hurt him that much to lose in a good, tough fight, but certainly it would be a big step up for the winner in this one tonight.
That's right. Somebody will make themselves a real opportunity from this.
Bungu has not changed a lick since round 1. He is relentlessly coming in on top of Norwood.
Yeah, they said he was going to box a little bit, but I guess he felt the other guy's strength and decided the best thing for him to do was put it on him.
You know, even though Norwood is kind of pawing at that left eye a little bit, they've done a great job. That's going to be no factor at all in this fight.
Well, he hasn't given a hit on it yet. Freddie's holding in the clinches now.
You know, I made mention that Norwood is such a stand-up fighter. He comes in punching with his head up. But when Bungu comes in, Norwood also goes with a leaned-over style, and Bungu can't find any place to hit him because he drops the elbows right on the body. Can't get many shots in on him here late in the rounds.
He's an excellent little defensive fighter, and he comes out of there with nice, crisp little short punches. And I think that's really been the difference in the fight, is the fact that his punches are shorter and a little bit more accurate than Bungu's, and Bungu's probably a little bit easier to hit.
We'll be calling on our producer, Jim DeLorenzo, to check on the numbers on this fight, since they will be announced in Italian, and to get the numbers, because this could be a very, very closely scored fight here tonight. We, of course, will give you the decision when the referee raises the hand, but we want to check on those numbers.
Good combination by Bungu there, and Norwood answers back with 4 punches of his own. They realize this is a very close fight. This round could be the deciding factor.
It has ebbed and flowed. Again, Norwood command early. Bungu here late in the rounds has done his yeoman job of trying to fight his way back into the fight.
The Italian referees don't stand for a lot of little infighting tactics that they use in the United States, and giving Norwood a hard time about it.
Oh, good uppercut again. Good combinations by Norwood. Norwood, a good right hook that time.
Oh, they're letting it all hang out.
They are indeed, aren't they, Bob? Clinch just for rest.
Yeah.
10 seconds to go in the fight. Will it be won or lost by a punch right here? We'll find out. And there it is. The 8th and final round. Promoter Cedric Kushner applauding the effort in the background, as the judges will officially have this in their hands now. I'm virtually untouched as far as any cuts or nicks and bruises on the head, but you know he's been hit tonight, that's for sure.
He certainly has. That's a credit to his skin, because he certainly caught some shots. I gave the fight to Norwood based on more accurate punching, but it certainly was an interesting contrast of styles, and I thought initially that Norwood would be the pressure fighter, and it ended up in the opposite.
So unofficially on Bob Spagnola's card tonight, a 78-76 win by that man, Little Marvin, as they call him, Freddie Norwood. But we will officially find out as the judges have ended, and let's see what the judges' decision is with the raising of the hand of the winner here.
Freddie Norwood.
So Freddie Norwood gets a unanimous decision, we're informed. Bungu.
That was just the one judge, I believe.
Oh, just one judge. Well. And now they officially make it the official, as Norwood comes up with the ceremonial raising of the contender, and quite obviously these two fighters with an opportunity to move on. Sam Smith along with Bob Spagnola. And again, Bungu, good effort tonight, a good gutty effort in the fact that he was down early, came back, made a fight of it, particularly from round.
The Wrath, we voted him Moniker of the Year, didn't we?
I believe we did, yes.
And he will take on Gary Carrero.